Hello, everybody. Good evening on this Wednesday. It is Wednesday, right? Hope everybody had a wonderful day. Lakeisha here, Lakeisha Riddick. I blog and I scope about my faith and my fitness, right? God has been helping me. Hey, LaTroy, welcome. Helping me to lose the weight spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. Hey, Angela, I'm down 78 pounds and counting and asking God to continue to direct my path. Thank you for the hearts. Yes, thanks for those joining on the replay. Hey, KSAP 6234. If you're watching on the web, please favor and retweet the broadcast notifications so I can greet you. And if you want to share this with your followers, if you think somebody is interested in this content, please share it. And you can also give hearts just to let me know you're there and you are engaged. So tonight's topic is how to trust in the dark so that you can walk in his light. His light meaning God's light. I'm a believer, follower of Christ. So that's my perspective. And if you follow me, and you can follow my blog, sharemyworldshow.com, just to get a perspective on my journey if you like that as well. So I always share about what God has given me. Sometimes it's not easy because like tonight I felt kind of like I'm tired. I don't want to do anything. And God was like, I gave you this word, not for you, but for not just for you, but for other people as well. So for somebody out there, I hope you're blessed by this tonight and that you go and bless somebody else as I've been obedient to share this message. So about trusting in the dark. When you hear about darkness, what kind of things come to mind? Right? I know for me, negative things or feeling out of control, feeling lost, feeling weak, again, evil, bad things. This is for me. I just wrote down several words down. One was trust. Well, praise God. I'm glad, Angela, that you are on here, and praise God that I went high for hope, that I was obedient to do this because I really was feeling like I didn't want to do it, but I'm glad. So the main thing is that the darkness is, we look at it as bad stuff, right? But what I learned today is that sometimes the darkness, being in the dark, is for your own protection. Let me say that again. Sometimes being in the dark is for your own protection. Now, I'm not saying somebody trying to deceive you, being fraudulent, that kind of darkness, okay? Or, evil to do you harm. But being in the dark meaning not knowing, not being in control, not having all of the I's dotted and the T's crossed. And how did I come to that conclusion? Well, today I'm on day 28 of my ab challenge, and part of my ab challenge I have to do planks. Anybody know about planks out there? They are very challenging, and with this ab challenge it increased incrementally all the way up to now it's like 2 minutes and 25 seconds that you have to do it. Okay, great. Well, while I was doing it, before I was doing the plank, I tried to get into a zone, right? Hey, Gabrielle Self. So I try to get into a zone to try to get myself prepared mentally, because you do know, right, that when it comes to doing anything on this weight loss journey, they look easy, but they are very hard. Yes, they are. How you doing, Gabriel? So doing the plank, I know it's difficult. Puebla, Mexico. ¿Cómo estás? A little bit of Spanish. Welcome. Bienvenidos. So I had to prepare myself, right? Hey, 567 HA. Okay. So I had to go and get myself together. And so for me, what I do is when I do the plank, I do it with my eyes closed. Okay. And God was just like, see, you're in the dark. And I'm thinking like, okay, I'm not literally in the dark, but I'm in the dark. But being in the dark, what happens is that instead of trying to be focused on finishing my plank, I have my timer set up, right? And my timer is set to the 2 minutes. And before I was able to do this, the timer set to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I was using another timer to set it to like 3 minutes. And then I had to keep looking to see like, is it like 2 minutes yet? Is it 2 minutes and 5 seconds? That kind of thing. And then I don't know. I just realized, I do have another timer that I could set up on my phone to actually set it for the exact time. And so God was like, listen, I want you to do this plank, and I want you not to look at the clock. I don't want you to look at the timer whatsoever. I want you to trust the timer to do what it's supposed to do. It's going to go off at 2 minutes and 25 seconds, but don't look. Let me tell you how hard it was to trust in the dark. My eyes are closed, right? And for me, I was quoting scripture. That's what I do to get through my workouts, declaring scriptures, to help me go through. And today I was doing, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I have fought the good fight. I have finished the course. I have kept the faith. Those are the 2 scriptures I was doing. But it was very hard for me to not want to look at that clock. Okay? Exactly. The clock would do its job. Meanwhile, we have to do our job. Absolutely, Gabriel. But because, you see, I can admit, I do go watch my other broadcasts. You can watch them on Periscope, or if you like to watch them on my YouTube channel, Share My World Show, and you can leave comments there. I appreciate that as well. I said, you got to be honest with yourself. I know I like to be in control. I just said being in the dark. What does it being in the dark do? You're out of control. You don't know what's going on. You don't know the details. You're lost, right? So being in the dark, my eyes closed, doing the plank, I kept wondering, is it ready yet? Is it time yet? Whatever, that kind of thing. I kept going back and forth. But today I said, you know what? I'm not going to look. So that meant what? I had to press harder into my faith. Okay, I had to press harder into trusting God to help me to finish this thing, which was me replacing the negative thoughts of, man, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. Oh no, I'm going to fall down. Oh, I'm going to be that close. And I promise you, I was able to complete that plank, let the timer do its thing, okay, because I was able to trust in God, trust in the dark. So I know you're kind of saying, well, trusting in the dark, or whatever, but that was my real life experience. So how do we translate that to life? Just not just a weight loss journey in general, but just any journey in general. There's going to be times that you don't know what's going on, okay? Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, right? Not seen. That doesn't mean, okay, well, yeah, you're going to know what's going on and then you have the faith. No, now faith, meaning right now, you don't know, you don't have what's going on. You don't know the details. And God does not, it's easy to have faith, right? When you know everything's going to turn out right. But how hard is it to have faith when you have to really trust God to know, well, you know what, God, I'm going to go where you send me. I'm going to go and do what you need me to do. And that's even me on this journey. Yes, I started last year, April 20th, but I had no idea all of the different things that I would have been going through up until this point, day 435 on this journey that I'm still on, right? Yes, exactly. And that's why I said sometimes I believe that the darkness is for our protection, because God knows that if we know all of the details, we know everything, that we will give up, or we would say, no, I'm not going to do it. Go back to me in the plank, right? I don't know about you, but when it comes to doing a plank or exercises or anything like that, like when I was looking at the clock, I would be like, focused, right? I'm going to finish. Go watch my broadcast. Are you finished or are you done? I'll be like, I'm going to finish, right? But as soon as I look at that clock and say it was said, 30 seconds up, it would feel like, oh man, like all of the thoughts coming to my head. Don't fall. Don't go down. Don't go down. Stay up or whatever. Why is that? Because I was starting to get fearful of that I wasn't going to finish. You see that? But if I had stayed in the dark, right, in terms of focusing and repeating my scriptures and praying and doing that kind of thing, I wouldn't have even known that hey PG Ninjas, hey Perry Girls, I wouldn't have even known that the time was about to end. I would have just stayed and so today when I did it, I felt like, wow, I really accomplished something. I really trusted God to do his work through this time versus me trying to do it on my own. And how many times do we say, yes, trust God's timing. Yes, his timing is perfect. How many times do we really do that? We don't, because we try to get in and mix it up and try to fix this and fix that and do this and do that. And then what? Next thing you know, we've given up or we got distracted, which is a big thing, I believe, what the enemy tries to send us as far as distractions are concerned. So how do you trust in the dark to walk in his light? First, you got to make a decision to do it. Okay? And being honest with yourself, that comes a part of that decision. But then you got to say, you know what? I am going to do it. And I know it seems simple, but that's the main thing. You got to believe that you're going to do it. The next thing that you got to do is You have to replace those thoughts. Again, being in the dark, a leap of faith. Absolutely. Being in the dark, you are going to feel some kind of way, right? I think there's even like some physiological things that happen like when it turns dark, like, you know, your brain, you know, processes things and hormones and sends signals or whatever. So you think it's like sleepy time. That's why I think like people like in other parts of the world where it's really dark all the time, you know, have to really fight past that. It's not just you're a lazy thing. It's a hormonal thing as well, right? So being in the dark does come with different things, right? But again, you have to say, you know what? I'm going to replace those thoughts of negativity, of fear, of whatever other stuff that comes up with things of faith. Okay? And then you got to do it. You have to actually take the actions. I'm telling you, I got kind of emotional when I was thinking about this topic because God was showing me, he gave me like a visual, and I want you to kind of go with me on this visual. He was showing me being in a room, right, that's dark. And he was at the other end of the room, and he was telling me, guiding me by his voice, by his, you know, by his word, and telling me to come across the room. I couldn't see anything. All I knew was I had to trust him to get across the room, right? And like I said, I was blindfolded. And then when I got across the room, I was able to, you know, embrace God and see him, and then look back, and I saw all kind of gory and, you know, just crazy, disgusting things that would have been trying to get me as I was coming across. But because I stayed focused, I heard his voice, I was able to walk and keep walking until I you know, was received by him. And, you know, I believe that little, you know, vision was life. That God is saying, I got you. I got you every step of the way. When he says in his word, he's a lamp unto our feet, a light unto our path. He's telling us, take one step at a time. I got you. Not to sit here and worry about, man, you know, I got to get all the way to the other side of the room and then, you know, not worry about whatever's going on. Because what he knew about the you could say the monsters or whatever else was going on there. And I believe that in reality, God knows about everything that the enemy is trying to throw our way. But until we trust him, he can't, you know, guide us. Anybody watch The Matrix? I love, if you follow me, you know, hey babe, thanks for joining in. If you watch The Matrix, you know it's one of my favorite movies. My husband actually said they're supposed to be coming out with some more. Can you believe that? I love it. Well, anyway, in The Matrix, there's a scene where Neo this is in the beginning, right? When he is being chased by the agents. They're coming, he's in the office, right? And they're about to come and get him. And he gets a phone call, right? And then, Matrix 4 and 5, right, babe? The agents are trying to come and get him, right? And then what happens? He gets a phone call. Listen, do as I say. I don't remember all this stuff, but, you know, Morpheus is telling him, listen, go here, duck down, go around the corner, do this, go this way. I mean, like, it was, like, amazing, right? And when I look at that movie, I was like, that's like the Holy Spirit telling us how to trust when we don't know. Now, all Neo knew was that these agents were going to get him and harm him. And, you know, watch the movie if you haven't seen it and you'll see what happened. But that actual scene showed me exactly how God wants us to trust him in the dark. So are you going to trust him in the dark? Are you going to replace those thoughts that the enemy tries to throw your way, to make you doubt, to make you have fear, to make you think that you're not going to actually receive the success that God has for you? Don't worry about it. I'm telling you, again, if I knew everything that was going to happen to me from last year up until now, I probably would have just been like, wow, man, that's too much. I don't know. I mean, I was in a car accident in January, you know, totaled out the car, you know, could have died. I mean, you know, this is a good word, sister. Thank you so much, Angela. I mean, if so many negative things have happened, always do leaps of faith. Good for you, Gabriel. That is a wonderful thing. Taking leaps of faith is a wonderful thing because what? You're leaping, you're doing something, you're moving, you're taking a leap of faith and trusting that, hey, you're going to reach the goals that you're going to reach. So I always do biblical context, you know, when I do my broadcast. So who do you think had to trust in the dark so that they can walk in God's light? I'm talking about like biblical characters. Excuse me. Well, I'll tell you. There's a whole bunch of people had to trust in the dark. But the person that came to mind for me, well, a couple of people came to mind. I'll tell you a couple and then I'll go into depth about one. Hey, Janice, welcome. Well, the first one I kind of popped into my mind. Ruth and Naomi, absolutely. That's some good ones. Yeah, trust in the dark. They went off, right, to the land and had to trust to get the jobs. And then, hey, what do you say? She say, Ruth say, I'll follow you. You know what I'm saying? Your God will be my God. Absolutely, right? So, but I thought about Peter. When Peter saw Jesus right there walking on the water, right? And then Jesus said, come. And then he started walking on the water. Now, a figurative thing, right, is he had to trust in the dark. Dark meaning that wasn't a normal thing, right? That wasn't him able to see and understand and, his sense. But soon as he, started looking away from God and, trusting into those thoughts, probably being like, wait a minute, how am I walking on this water? Doubt, all of those things, he started to sink, right? But when he was trusting in the dark, trusting in God, right? All along the way, he was walking on water too. Can you believe that? That's amazing. So that was one person that came to mind. But the other person that came to mind is the man of faith himself, Mr. Abraham. Abram to Abraham. Now think about it. Now his story is in Genesis, if you need reference or whatever. He was told to go to a land he didn't know, right? And that God would bless him, beyond, his dreams, whatever he could think or imagine, and that he would be blessed with descendants that would be greater than the stars in the sky, greater than the grains of sand on the earth, right? Okay. Do you know he was 75 years old when he left his land to go to Canaan, right? Do you know it was 25 years later until that was huge trust, right? Trusting in the dark, right? Because God didn't say, let me tell you something, Abram. You are going to come to Canaan, and you know what? You're going to have all of these different things happen to you, and you can see all of the different things. I'll just give you a little rundown. You're going to, encounter this king, and you're going to lie about your wife, and then, basically the king is going to want to kill you because he basically was being threatened or feeling like his life was threatened because he almost slept with your wife because he thought it was your sister. Then, Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed. Okay, then you had to fight people for land. I mean, he went through a whole lot of stuff. Okay, then the big one, your wife tells you, listen here, he was 75, 11 years later. His wife was like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's get my handmaiden to make this promise work. And that was not God's promise, but he went in, did the do, and next thing you know, Ishmael, right? And that wasn't it. I mean, all of these things, man. I mean, and more. You could go see from 75 up until 100 years old, all of the different things that he went through. But he had to trust in the dark. He didn't know exact. Sarah trusted God too. She had to as well. I mean, number one, she went with him. How many wives would leave the land they knew, follow their husbands, right, with this promise? And she was old herself to be like, yeah, you're going to have some kids. But you saw she laughed when, when the angels came and was like, you're going to have kids. She was like, yeah, I don't know about that. But he gave her a child late in life. Yes, he did. After she had to trust in the dark as well. Right? So, but she had her moments too, because she gave her handmaiden to Hagar to Abraham in order for him to sleep with her, and so that they can have a child, which they thought was going to be the promise with Ishmael, but it wasn't. That wasn't the promised one. So I'm saying, when you think about that story, 25 years he was in the dark. 25 years until he actually physically saw what he had been sent to, and the promise that had been given to him, right? When he was 75. But he was able to walk in God's light, because all along the way, guess what he did? He had to make a decision to trust. Make a decision to trust God. Then he had to replace those negative thoughts that were coming to be like, what's going on? And visualize. This is where visualization comes in. The grains of sand, the stars in the sky, those things that God said, that's going to be your descendants. He had nothing. He couldn't see anything. And again, do you think about it? If God had showed him when he was in Ur and said, Abram, let me tell you everything that's going to happen to you when you go to Canaan, okay? This is all the stuff that's going to happen to you. Do you think he would have left? No. It's the same for us. God knows that if he were to tell us everything, I would say it would kind of kill us. How do you know you are trusting God? Let me tell you how you know you're trusting God. You know you're trusting God when you are in relationship with God. That's the number one thing, Angela. I would say having a relationship with God means you're spending time with him. You're listening to him. You know his voice. If you don't know his voice, read his word. And his word, his voice aligns with his word. God's not going to tell you to do something that's outside of his word. Everything's rooted in love. You can go back and watch some of my broadcasts and see, like, when I talk about trusting God and that kind of thing. But to me, that's how it works. And then the visualization means you're focusing on him, even if it's declaring his word, even if it's, just crying out to him. There's scriptures and there's different scenarios in the Bible where the people just cried out to God and he heard their cry and he answered them, like the children of Israel. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because I know, like, if you're like me, I like to know. I mean, my husband knows it as well. Hey, Gabriel, thanks for joining back in. Going somewhere, I like to map it out. I'll have my errands because I don't want to do zigzags and whatnot or whatever. But life is not, a map in terms of, destination. Put it in the GPS, bam, 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 you're going there, okay? It's like, that's not it. And like I said, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. What does that mean? You don't see it. You have to believe to see. And it's a choice that you have to make. I know, again, I'm saying it again, that you're like, is that easy to believe? No, it's not that easy to believe, but you believe every day. Me too. The saying, let go and let God is hard for me. I need to practice trust. Let me tell you something, Janice. It's hard to practice trust when your trust has been broken. And a lot of us, and I'm going another area that I wasn't planning to do, but when that trust has been broken or breached, even with God, okay, it's hard to trust him. That was my issue. If you follow my journey, follow my story about my source of my pain, because this is why I say I had to connect my faith with my fitness and my faith to help me to overcome, is because I had pain. I had pain that I was numbing through food and bad choices, okay? Not using God to help me to heal the pain, but the breach was because I had believed God for healing for my father from cancer when I was 16 or 17, and he did not heal him the way that I thought he should have healed him. My father died. And I remember I was just like, whoa. Now, I knew I had a relationship with God. I knew of God. I knew he was a healer. I believed it. And it didn't happen. And so what happened with that? I internalized that pain, and it was a void there. I never voiced it, and said, God, I'm angry with you, and I can't believe you did that or you didn't do this. I just internalized it and coped in a bad way. Until years and years later, when God revealed to me, that's what it was. So I could trust God in a whole lot of other areas. But when it was something that was like real personal to me, especially when it came to my weight or anything about myself, I didn't think, he would do it. Because he didn't do it with my dad. And like I said, it took me many years later to forgive myself, to forgive God. I know you're like, how you forgive God? But I mean, that's what I had to do. And to be able to trust him again. Surrender, open up my heart completely to be like, you know what, God? I have to look at it like this. My father was healed. Even though I didn't think he was healed the way that I wanted him to be healed, meaning walking around here on this earth to see me graduate, to see me get married, to see his grandchildren. Okay, yes, I have wanted that. But he was healed because what? He is no longer in pain. He's absent from, my father knew the Lord, so he's absent from the body, present with the Lord. So he's with God. He's in a better place. So how can I, be... I was selfish. I wanted him here, but God's plan was that he was not here anymore. And that I could be, hey, blessed Lord, and I could be able to move on, carrying his legacy, right? And sharing my story with you guys. So if you're dealing with pain of a loss of a loved one, a relationship, any loss or whatever, and you have not healed in that area, you can ask God for forgiveness. Hey, how you doing? So that he can heal that area, so that you're not coping and using other things to numb that pain that you have, and not pain management, but that you're really allowing God to heal it. So that's for somebody too. I don't know who that is for, because I wasn't planning on saying that. So again, if you are enjoying this content, please share it with other people. Let them know that, just because you're in the dark, there is light. Think about it. I just did little Bible stories with my kids today, right? In the beginning, there was what? Thanks for inviting followers. There was darkness. The earth was without void. So from darkness came greatness. He said, let there be light. There had to be the dark so that there could be light. There will be light. The scriptures say what joy comes in the morning. Count it all joy when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance, and let endurance have its perfect result so that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. That's James 1:2-4. Look at that. It's saying that you are going to go through things. There are going to be dark times. Thanks for inviting followers. I'm getting ready to get off, but I appreciate it. And people who are coming on, please go back and watch the replay. Let me know what you think. You could leave comments on my YouTube channel, Share My World Show. I try to upload it during the evenings after the broadcast, and then you can go and do it. But that's my hope for you, that whoever's watching tonight, for the people that are watching live, I appreciate it. People that are going to watch on the replay, that are going to connect, people going to watch on YouTube, just know that the choice to trust in God in the dark allows you to be able to walk in his light, because you're not going to know everything. I mean, I know we want to know it. That's my personality. I used to get mad sometimes and be like, well, God, why'd you make me this way? Very curious, very resourceful, very like a problem solver. And he's like, because it has its place. Just like you sharing your story, just like you doing your work and doing it, it has its place. But when it comes to faith, you just got to let go, like Janice said, and let God, and let him guide you to what you need to do. So thank you so much for following me. Again, you can subscribe to my blog, sharemyworldshow.com, for updates. I'll be posting some updates this weekend about my June weight loss update. I try to do monthly updates so you can see what God has done. And it's not just about the pounds. I always post scale victories and non-scale victories, because God is doing a work in me, not just with the pounds lost, but a transformation totally from the inside out. So thank you so much. Wonderful work. Thank you. You look great. I give God the glory. Thank you so much, Angela. I appreciate you for joining me tonight. So thank you so much for sharing my world. Now go and share your world with others. Be blessed.